Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into my channel, Hildenbrand Guitar Academia. In this lesson we will talk about the different elements music is constructed, and we want to put that in a kind of an order. As you may noticed throughout this whole Guitar Academia here channel on YouTube and these PDFs and everything, these lessons, you find out that I'm quite systematic about certain things, or about almost everything when it comes to music. I mean, one thing is the emotional, the spiritual aspect of music, but the other aspect is actually how to deal with all that tonal material and all these possibilities. So my general approach is to really find out first, like, all possibilities. Like, for example, all possibilities of 4-note structures, 4 different notes together. And I found out that there are 43. Or about 3-note structures, like there are 19 and all that stuff. And actually these numbers, they may become more and more known to everybody, but when I sat down and figured out all these possibilities, it was kind of I did this exploration and I found out this by myself. Actually, that was kind of surprising. Actually, that these limited numbers actually, and so anyway. And so my approach is really to find out all possibilities, just in general, and then have a kind of a structure how can I structure all these different possibilities, maybe to some families, to some groups, and then I go and practice them, and I practice them all for a certain kind of while, and then I figure out which ones I like, and the others I would just ignore, and maybe come to that later. And of course, because of this neat system, I know where to find it when I need it again. Like if I find a certain 4-note structure suddenly where I think, wow, in this context, this sounds actually quite nice, and I never thought about that, because when I played it, I thought, oh, I don't know, it's not inspiring me much. Then I suddenly think, wow, this is actually cool in this context. Then I know where I find it, and for example, with 4-part structures and 3-part structures, I already have all the theory and the different ways of playing that on the guitar and things. And I published that already also on this channel. So just check 4- and 3-note structures, for example. Okay, but anyway, since I'm just in the process of writing a book. A guitar book about all these different things, possibilities, different cultures, jazz and Western harmony and technique, Turkish makam music, microtones, raga, bowing, play with a bow of the guitar, and everything comes in, and it will be quite a huge volume of a book, I think. So I'm right in the process of writing the book, and the last days I really thought about the different elements, actually, to also get a kind of a structure in music, like how I can order all that all these topics when I, for example, have a certain technique or a certain melodic idea or a theoretical idea, that I know which elements in music, where does that belongs to. Yeah? So actually, in a way, I thought about music as my shelf, and now I to find actually like places where when I get something, some topic, that I know where that in the whole, where that belongs. So then I later on can see bring also other things more into context, how they're actually interacting and these kind of things. So it's a bit abstract, a bit theoretical, but yeah, you can also just skip this lesson if you want, of course. But yeah, I think it's quite interesting actually to think about the different elements and yeah, to get an idea how music is constructed. What are the basic elements? And as you go down in the description below, there is a PDF file that you should download to really get maximum benefit of this lesson. Like the full package is only available when you also download the PDF, and it's not for free, so it helps to support this channel. But it's a low fee, so I hope it's not such a big deal. And yeah, so, and what you see on these pages, there, I try, as I said, I try to order all these different elements. And also another thing I have to say now is that I'm not really exactly completely sure about that, what I'm talking today. And since most of the guitarists, most of the audience on this channel, they're actually musicians themselves or professional musicians even. I hope that I also get some feedback about the whole thing, because yeah, it's just it's just a lot of stuff you actually can forget about thinking, because it's so huge, the whole thing of music, so many possibilities that to really find this structure which really works, I think it's quite, in a way, it's quite a challenge. But for now, I think that's what I have here is quite right and quite working, but I think it can also improve, of course. All right, so the first, actually I will just go through the elements with you. So one element is tone quality or timbre. It's like instrumentation or the intensity or the color of the sound you're hearing, of the instrument you're hearing, or the way it is played. Then we have dynamics. Dynamics is about volume, forte, pianissimo, or getting louder, crescendo or decrescendo, or accents. That's all has to do with dynamics. And dynamics are very close to timbre also, because if you play notes loud or soft, you also, on an instrument, you also change the tone quality. Okay, next would be rhythm. Yeah, and rhythm is about the organization of time. So how you organize time. Music is always happening in time. So you have always a time element. When you don't have time, you don't have music, because music is always about movement, about vibrations. If you don't have vibrations, you don't hear anything. And vibrations is an event what needs time to happen, of course. And rhythm can really can structure time into parts, into quarter notes, into bars, into whatever. Yeah? Also, rubato is also kind of a rhythm, is how you place musical events in time. Okay, next thing is melody, of course. And then you have harmony. The fifth and the sixth is texture. Texture is actually like is like harmony and melody, these elements together. Because you have different textures. You have, for example, you have a monophonic texture, which is actually melody, but you also have homophonic texture, which means you have a melody and chords. And then you have polyphonic texture and heterophonic texture. So these are the different fabrics music is made of. And on an even more, on a higher degree or more, more the finished product, so to speak, you have the form, the whole composition in a way. So the form, binary form, ternary form, it's actually the architecture, what music is made of. And you find some more descriptions on the PDF. All right. In general, you say like the most common elements which are named in music is like rhythm, melody, and harmony. Yeah, these three. And that's, in a way, it's right, but it's also not really the complete. It's like this, I would say it's like a simplified version. Now, the next thing what I actually just did is to find a kind of an order of these elements. And I have this on the next page. You see something what actually I found out, but I'm maybe this already exists. Would be interesting if so. But I think this is quite cool and quite working to yeah. So in a way, I thought about different layers of music. And I placed all these elements, in a way I structured them in layers. So you have like a building, you can also say, like there's a building and you have really the ground floor or the basis, and there you need this basis actually to build something on top. Yeah, so that's actually the idea. So and my really basis is timbre, is tone color, because everything what you do in music has some tone quality, some tone color. You can't have a note or something or rhythm without having a certain tone color. So that's really the basis of it. And also, when you're on that basis, you also on that layer, actually, it's you even don't have music already. It's also about noise, for example. It's just if you do that, it's like this is noise. This is not music. Or these are not musical pitches, but it's noise, and it's already a timbre. So that's actually the way you can think about timbre. Later on, you have you can have, for example, you can have a sine wave, just a plain wave, which you say that has no timbre, but that's actually not correct. Even that has a timbre. You recognize that with a certain quality. So it's always there, that timbre, And I think of that as there's a pure pitch, the pure sine wave, and there's the noise. And when you add that together, you have actually timbre in music. Like if you add certain noise, certain ways, like wave, like frequencies, like waves behave, and you add that to an actual pitch, you recognize, oh, that's a guitar, oh, that's with a metal pick, oh, let's play it on that string, or that's a thinner string, or that's a yeah. So and that's actually the sound, the noise element added to the pitch, because also in the attack of most instruments, maybe all instruments, I don't know, you have a certain, when you see the waveforms, you have actually this is quite noise, you know, till actually the real note is sounding. It needs the string or the air or yeah, the skin of the drums or percussion needs some time to get into the right vibration. And this time, when you just pick that, it's actually noise. And yeah, that's the idea actually. You have this lowest layer that's about noise, that's about timbre, just timbre, and nothing else is possible without having this layer. So everything is built on that, or everything has this layer also in it in music. And the next layer is dynamic, is soft and loud, and also you can't have a pitch or a rhythm, a sound without a certain dynamic, of course. It's either soft or loud or anything between. But of course, when you have dynamic, when you hear something, oh, it's loud, it's soft, you always have also timbre, because it's there because you hear something. And already, still like dynamic, I can also have a noise, you know, a noise. I don't know. Yeah, I can have, for example, I can have a noise which is going like. It's not a nice noise. Yeah, and I can have a noise which is louder, and it's not music yet, but it's a second layer. It's dynamic and timbre. Okay. Then we can go in two directions. The next step, actually, without thinking like time too much, we can just think of a next layer. It's pitch. So for pitch, we need a certain kind of waveform. It should be in a way organized. It should repeat. It should always repeat, that our ear can perceive that as a certain note, as a certain pitch. And of course, for a note, for a pitch, you also always, when you have a note, when you hear a note, just a single note, you also have dynamic and you have timbre. It's always there. When you go even higher on that scale, on that layers, you have harmony. And with harmony, I mean just one chord, just one event with more notes stacking up vertically. And of course, this you can't. This also implies that you have a pitch or more pitches even, and this implies that you have timbre and dynamic. So that's a kind of a. That's just for a single event. You already have like four different things to think about. It's a harmony itself, then the pitches of which the harmony is built, is constructed, and then you have the the dynamic, how loud you play that, or maybe you have different notes played at a different level in the harmony, in a different volume. It's possible, and you have the timbre, and you also have a timbre. You can add like different timbres, for example, tone qualities, if you have like different instruments playing one chord together, for example. All right, so that's really now we just talked about like one event, yeah, just one ton. Now we add this time element, and of course as I said before, we already deal with time, because like if you hear something, you need time that it waveforms and vibrations can happen to hear something. But now we make an abstraction out of that, and we say this is just an event and we don't have time yet. Okay, now rhythm comes into play. Rhythm is built on top of timbre and tone quality, because if you have a stick on a snare drum, for example, it has always a kind of a loudness, kind of a volume, and a kind of a sound timbre. And with rhythm, we divide the time into parts. It can be really like rubato also, that's also kind of a rhythm, which doesn't have a repeating structure or period or something. But the most obvious thing we think about rhythm is that we have bars or measures. So we have like certain periods of time which repeat, or in Indian thala music you have this cycle. It always comes to a kind of a one. Yeah, and these you have like very small divisions, and you group these smaller divisions into larger divisions, and these larger divisions you even group into more large. So like you have a small grouping that's maybe quarter notes, and you can say, okay, my period is always 3/4 notes, all right. But then I also get a feeling of that these 3/4 notes is one bar, and I also feel that 4 bars is also a certain kind of a period. So I have I group them in an even bigger group together. So that's about rhythm, and rhythm is a layer which we need as a basis of melody and of harmonic progressions. These two only happen in time. Otherwise, it's not possible. Yeah? You need like a kind of a pitches after each other. Otherwise, you don't have a melody. Like da. Is it a melody? No, I would say that's a pitch. A melody is maybe ba da di. That's already a melody, or melodic movement, or motive, or something. I mean, you have a lot of words to express something. So you have like different pitches horizontally placed in time. So you have timbre, you have dynamic, you have rhythm, and you have pitches, you have melody. Yeah, these are the layers. And when you have more pitches vertically together and they are happening in music, then you say that's a harmonic progression. And for a harmonic progression, you also need melody. Because when you have, for example, when you have just two chords, like mostly like the top note will also suggest a melody. Or you hear, oh, this is this chord, and mostly the top note sticks out, so that you have a kind of an interval there between the two top notes, and you have a melodic movement. And also in a chord progression, you have also voice leading. And voice leading is how the individual voices in the chord, the individual notes, move to the next chord. And that's voice leading, and voice leading is nothing else but melody, like different melodies. It's like chord progressions actually happen by combining different melodies. Of course, they have to have the kind of the same rhythm, and then you just take one event where all these melodic movements meet, and that's your chord. So in a way you can look at harmonic progressions in two different ways. You can take a look at the horizontal organization of these notes, but you can also look at the vertical movement the chords. And that's also something in music history, what happened when you came from the Renaissance to the Baroque period. Then like the attention, or I mean, Renaissance is already like a step in between of Gregorian chant, for example. So the attention of the melody, yeah, for example, in Gregorian chant you have a melody. Yeah, it's just a melody, mostly one mode, and it's just a horizontal single notes. Then in Renaissance you combine these different melodies. It's very polyphonic. You have a very strong emphasis on individual melodies in the whole texture. You have a lot of things like imitation and all that, so that you, in a way, when you listen to the music, you really can follow like the each voice in a way, in a 4-part or more part structure. And then the whole thing shifted more and more to a sense of vertical structures, where actually the thinking of vertical structure becomes the main thing in music. Like with Johann Sebastian Bach, for example, it's really like also when he plays like melodic lines, for example, in his cello or violin sonatas, partitas, suite, then he sings very much chords. So he sings actually chords, and that's the main, you can say, that's the main focus. You sing progressions of chords, and chords suddenly get functions, and suddenly it's possible to modulate by using certain functions in a different way. So it's like it opens a complete new door, but that's actually like the development of how music developed. And also with this order here, what I have here found out in this PDF also, I think it's also quite in a way like a good roadmap, maybe how music developed. Because of course at the beginning you have timbre, and then you, for example, you find something. I'm doing that quite often. I'm getting, maybe people think sometimes I'm crazy, but you know, I get something in my hand, and anything, and I'm thinking about how does it sound? How does it sound? What kind of sounds can I bring out of that? And then that's about timbre. That's the sound. Then I figure out, oh, I can play it louder and softer, and that's already the next step. Like, what can I do with that? And then maybe I find out that I can do that in a rhythmical way. That's one direction. Or I find out, oh, I can do a pitch, or I can different pitches, or I can maybe do different pitches at the same time. You know, that's actually the way from the, you can say, from the simple to the complex, which is not exactly true, because the simple, like the timbre, for example, itself, can be already very complex. And in a way, you can say, sometimes it's maybe even more complex than a whole composition. Yeah, but that's a different story. Okay, we talk now about 5 different elements. 5, yes, and of course, like melody, harmony is also like very much connected, because you can say like a harmony is like a vertical organization of notes, and a melody is like a horizontal organization of notes. But when you, for example, look at the possibility of an arpeggio, you see that it's really connected. It's really connected. You can say a melody can imply a harmony. Yeah, and that's also Johann Sebastian Bach, of course. It's a great example for that. I love his music, so I'm always like referring to him. So it's like you play a certain melody, and this implies a harmony. So you group a certain number of notes together, and that forms a certain kind of overall sound. that makes an overall sound, and you label that. Okay, that's a B minor sound, for example. Okay, yeah, and what I said already, like harmonic progression is very much connected with melody because you have voice leading. Okay, now you can even build on top of that. You have this element of texture, and texture is actually a combination or like an overall, how do you say that? In a way, it sums up everything you can do with melody and harmony. So what kind of textures you create by combining these two elements in different ways. Yeah, like monophonic is just a melody. Like polyphonic are more melodies, or homophonic is just a melody and chords. And also when you just sing chords, it's also a texture, and that's you can say that's also homophonic because you have a top note, which is which you can't avoid to create a melodic movement. I mean, it sounds like you also have a melody there. It's yeah. Okay, and when you put that together, melody and harmony, into one thing, texture, then you have in a way the more yeah, maybe abstract, or I mean you're talking about the fabric. The composition is built of, and there can be more fabrics, of course. You can have a monophonic structure, a monophonic texture, and later on it goes into a more polyphonic texture, and then you have whatever, you know. You can combine that. So these textures, they are the fabric of the whole composition. And the composition itself is you can say is the biggest the composition itself needs everything what came below. And on purpose, I put like texture and I put like harmony and melody together into texture, because texture, with texture you can also have just a melody. And when you talk about the composition now, the form, that's a form aspect, you also can just have a melody. Yeah, your composition can just be a melody. Again, with Johann Sebastian Bach, for example, it's implying harmony in the melody, but it's like when you have a cello suite or something, it's quite often it's just monophonic, just a melody. So you can say the form element, the element of form, is really the highest layer, and not in that it's superior in a way, or that it's like the most I mean, you don't value these layers, you know. It's just it just means is the highest layer in the sense that it needs all the layers below. And that's actually what I try to explain you here in this excursion on ordering the different elements. That is my attempt to get the different elements and to structure them in a very logical way. Yes, and I would be really happy if you give me some feedback about that. Maybe you think about other elements which you really do not really find here, but please also download the PDF and because some stuff it's written in the PDF, but I didn't say it here in the lesson. So if you really want to participate in this thing, it would be really great if you download that, support the channel, and so we all have the same basis, and then we can really talk on that, because I don't want to have a certain thing like a question or a suggestion, or you think, oh, that's missing here, and then I already have it in the PDF, and then I have to explain that again here on the channel. I mean, you know, anyway, this whole channel is really also based on all these PDFs. So if you don't download the PDF, you do not really get the full package, and sometimes you even don't understand what we are talking about. All right, so yeah, I would really appreciate to get some feedback on that, maybe some ideas about another elements you could not find in my system. Or you think, yeah, whatever. Because this is like a really huge topic. I mean, music is like this. What I'm always say is like an endless ocean, and to really get some get hold there, and to structure that in a certain way that I know, okay, if I'm busy with that topic or that technique, it belongs there, or I'm dealing with these elements, and so it would be really cool, I mean, for everybody, I think, to work together on this shelf, to have it really neat and really in a good, very logical way that it really works to structure everything in music. That's the idea. All right, that's it for the lesson. Download the PDF, support the channel. Also, you can support, of course, by making donation. You can go to my website, hoophildenbrand.com. There you find a button where you can donate to support my work and my life to go on with this whole process here. Would be really great. Okay, thanks for watching. My name is Hoop Hildenbrand.